Most people think their immune system is just a collection of cells floating around waiting to attack a virus, but you actually have millions of hidden immune receptors inside your cells that are completely shut down right now. You can take all the vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D in the world, but if these deep cellular switches remain locked, your body is essentially defenseless against chronic inflammation, constant fatigue, and rapid aging. What if the real reason you keep getting sick, feeling exhausted, or struggling with stubborn metabolic issues isn't a lack of nutrients, but a profound blockage at the absolute foundation of your cellular architecture? There is a hidden barrier that forces your immune system to sleep through major health threats, and almost no one is talking about how to turn it back on. Right now, I want you to type the word immunity in the comment section below so your brain actively locks this concept in, then hit the like button so this vital message bypasses the algorithm to reach those who need it most, and subscribe to Metabolic Health Lab immediately. Because if you care about your metabolic health, what I'm about to reveal next will completely change how you protect your body. When we look at how the body truly defends itself, we have to look past the bloodstream and peer directly into the nucleus of your cells. This is where we find the vitamin D receptor, or the VDR. This is not just a passive landing pad for a vitamin, it is a master genetic switch. It controls hundreds of genes involved in your immune response, your gut barrier, your cardiovascular health, and even your mood. But here is the massive problem that leaves millions of people vulnerable. You can go to your doctor, get a standard blood test, and see that your vitamin D levels look perfectly normal. Yet, you are still suffering from joint pain, frequent infections, brain fog, and intense seasonal blues. This happens because of a condition called receptor resistance. Your blood is flooded with the nutrient, but the door to the cell is rusted shut, blocked, and completely non-functional. The keys are in your hand, but the lock has been sabotaged. But here's what most people completely miss about this entire process. They assume that if a supplement isn't working, the only solution is to just take more and more of it. They raise their doses to extreme levels, yet their symptoms do not change. Why? Because the blockage isn't caused by a lack of raw material. It is caused by an environmental disaster inside your tissues. If your cellular environment is highly inflamed, your receptors literally change shape. They deform. When they deform, the nutrients you consume cannot bind to them, meaning the signal to activate your immune system never gets delivered. It is exactly like trying to plug a delicate electronic device into a socket that has been melted by a fire. And this is where things get even more serious for your long-term health. The number one driver of this receptor deformation is something you might be consuming every single day under the guise of healthy eating. It isn't just sugar. It is the massive accumulation of highly processed, refined omega-6 seed oils. These industrial oils integrate themselves directly into your cellular membranes. They replace the stable, healthy fats that your cells need to structure their walls, creating a state of chronic, low-grade cellular oxidation. When your cell walls are built out of unstable, damaged fats, the delicate receptors sitting on those walls become stiff and unresponsive. If this is a completely new concept to you, drop a yes in the comments right now, because understanding this single shift is the first step to reclaiming your metabolic energy. What happens next is the part nobody talks about when discussing chronic sickness and low immunity. When these receptors are offline, your body enters a state of perpetual immune confusion. Instead of launching a precise, targeted attack against a foreign invader, your immune system begins to fire blindly in all directions. This is the exact mechanism that triggers autoimmune conditions, where your own tissues become the target of friendly fire. Your joints ache, your thyroid slows down, and your gut lining begins to degrade. This entire cascade is often entirely driven by the fact that the master regulatory switch is trapped in the off position. To turn these hidden receptors back on naturally, we must first look at the vital cofactors that act as the chemical WD-40 for your cells. The absolute king of these cofactors is magnesium. Think of magnesium as the physical key turner. Without a sufficient amount of bioavailable magnesium, your body cannot even convert stored vitamin D into its active hormonal form. If you are stressed, if you consume refined carbohydrates, or if you drink alcohol, you are actively flushing magnesium out of your kidneys every single day. This creates a severe internal depletion. When you try to fix your immune system without addressing magnesium, you are trying to drive a car with no transmission. The engine might rev, but the wheels will never turn. Hit that like button right now if you've never heard a doctor explain the connection between magnesium depletion and receptor resistance before, because this is the kind of foundational physiology that keeps you out of the pharmaceutical trap. Now, Look at what happens when you combine that magnesium with another highly neglected nutrient, vitamin K2. Vitamin D acts like a vacuum cleaner that sucks calcium out of your digestive tract and dumps it directly into your bloodstream. But once that calcium is in the blood, it needs a director. It needs a traffic cop to tell it where to go. That is exactly what vitamin K2 does. It activates a specific protein called osteocalcin, which grabs the calcium out of your blood vessels and locks it safely inside your bones and teeth. If you do not have enough K2, that calcium begins to settle into your soft tissues. It hardens in your arteries, deposits into your kidneys as stones, and calcifies your delicate cellular receptors, rendering them completely useless. But the mystery deepens when we examine where people are actually trying to source these vital nutrients. Most individuals have been told to eat a massive abundance of grains, whole wheat, and unfermented soy to get their daily nutrition. However, these exact plant foods are loaded with hidden defense mechanisms known as anti-nutrients. Phytic acid, oxalates, and lectins are chemical compounds designed by plants to protect their seeds from being digested. When you consume them in high quantities, they act like a magnetic sponge inside your digestive tract. They bind directly to your magnesium, your zinc, and your iron, dragging them out of your body before your cells ever have a chance to absorb them. You think you are eating a nutrient-dense diet, but you are actually causing severe systemic mineral starvation. This is precisely why a highly bioavailable ancestral approach to nutrition can completely transform a broken metabolism. When you transition your diet toward high-quality animal proteins, wild-caught seafood, and healthy saturated fats, you are completely eliminating the phytic acid and oxalates that trap your minerals. Furthermore, you are flooding your system with zinc and retinol, the active form of vitamin A. Zinc is the structural backbone of the vitamin D receptor. The receptor literally has tiny structural components called zinc fingers that grip onto your DNA to initiate healing. If you are zinc deficient, those fingers cannot grip, the gene never turns on, and your immune system remains entirely blind. Subscribe to Metabolic Health Lab if you want more of these simple, biologically accurate metabolic fixes, because cutting through the modern dietary noise is exactly how we restore true vitality. Let us take this concept a step deeper into the human digestive system, because this is where the real battle for your immunity is won or lost. If you have any form of gut inflammation, whether it is leaky gut, irritable bowel syndrome, or an overgrowth of bad bacteria, your ability to activate these hidden immune receptors drops to near zero. Why? Because fat-soluble vitamins and their essential mineral partners require a pristine, highly functioning intestinal lining to enter the body. Even worse, when the gut is inflamed, it produces massive amounts of localized cortisol. This constant flood of stress hormones directly downregulates the sensitivity of your cellular receptors, keeping them blocked regardless of what supplements you swallow. To fix the gut and open the receptors, you must address a highly common, yet frequently misdiagnosed condition known as small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. When bacteria migrate from the large intestine up into the small intestine, they begin to ferment carbohydrates right where your nutrients are supposed to be absorbed. This fermentation creates massive amounts of gas, bloating, and severe inflammation that destroys the delicate villi of your gut lining. These overgrown microbes also actively consume your B vitamins and deconjugate your bile salts. Since you need bile to dissolve and absorb fat-soluble compounds, a lack of functional bile means your immune-supporting nutrients are simply flushed right through your system, completely wasted. The single most effective way to starve out these opportunistic microbes and restore your cellular receptor sensitivity is to dramatically lower your insulin levels. High circulating insulin is a primary driver of systemic inflammation and cellular resistance. When you eat a diet high in refined sugars, processed grains, and frequent snacks, your pancreas constantly pumps out insulin to clear the glucose from your blood. Over time, your cells become completely numb to this hormone, leading to insulin resistance. What most people do not realize is that insulin resistance and vitamin D receptor resistance are twin evils. They feed on each other. High insulin damages the receptor, and a damaged receptor worsens your insulin sensitivity, trapping you in a vicious metabolic cycle that accelerates aging and degrades your health after 40 and 50. But what happens next is the part of the equation that truly shocks most people. Your body actually possesses a built-in cellular recycling system designed to clear out these broken, blocked receptors and destroy the chronic pathogens that are sabotaging your health. This process is called autophagy. Think of autophagy as your body's internal sanitation squad. It roams through your tissues, identifies deformed proteins, broken cellular walls, and dormant viruses, and systematically breaks them down into raw amino acids to build brand new, hyper-responsive cells. When your body is constantly digesting food and dealing with high insulin, autophagy is completely turned off. Your cells accumulate toxic debris and your immune receptors stay buried under a mountain of cellular waste. To trigger this deep cellular cleansing naturally, you must introduce strategic periods of metabolic rest. When you implement structured intermittent fasting and completely eliminate processed carbohydrates, your body depletes its glycogen stores and switches over to burning fat for fuel. This state produces powerful energetic molecules called ketones. Ketones are not just an alternative fuel source for your brain, they are potent signaling molecules that actively lower systemic inflammation, heal the gut lining, and directly stimulate the production of brand new, pristine cellular receptors. By shifting your metabolism away from constant glucose burning and toward clean ketone utilization, you are effectively hit the reset button on your entire immune architecture. If this deep dive into cellular biology is making sense to you, drop the word repair in the comments right now so I know you are ready to take control of your internal biochemistry. Another massive barrier that systematically shuts down your hidden immune switches is the presence of latent chronic viral infections that many people have been carrying for decades. Viruses like the Epstein-Barr virus, cytomegalovirus, or even chronic tick-borne issues like Lyme disease are incredibly smart. They have evolved sophisticated survival mechanisms to prevent your immune system from detecting and destroying them. One of their favorite strategies is to deliberately produce specific proteins that downregulate and block your cellular vitamin D receptors. By shutting down the receptor, the virus essentially turns off the alarm system in that local tissue, allowing it to hide out in a dormant state while slowly draining your systemic energy and causing chronic, unexplained joint pain and fatigue. When you enter a deep state of autophagy through fasting and proper nutrition, your cells finally get the opportunity to clean up these intracellular hiding spots. Autophagy can actually target and digest these latent viral components through a specialized process called xenophagy. By clearing out the viral debris and lowering the burden of chronic infections, you remove the primary blockages holding your immune switches in the off position. This is why so many people report that their long-standing autoimmune issues, chronic pain, and deep fatigue completely vanish when they adopt a clean, nutrient-dense, low-insulin lifestyle. They didn't just suppress their symptoms, they systematically cleared the biological highway. We must also look at the foundational raw material that your body requires to build these life-saving defense compounds from scratch, cholesterol. For decades, you have been told that cholesterol is a dangerous poison that must be driven down to the lowest possible levels through restrictive diets and medication. But this is a catastrophic misunderstanding of human physiology. Every single cell membrane in your body requires cholesterol to maintain its structural integrity and fluid flexibility. Even more critically, cholesterol is the exact structural precursor to your active immune hormones. When the sun hits your skin, it interacts with a specific form of cholesterol to create the baseline compounds your body needs to defend itself. If you aggressively deplete your cholesterol through artificial means or a low-fat diet, you are starving your body of the very bricks it needs to build its defensive walls. When you look at the big picture of your health, your body functions exactly like a complex, highly interconnected ecosystem. Imagine a beautiful fish tank. If you pollute the water with toxic chemicals, artificial additives, and unstable fats, the fish will inevitably get sick. You can try to treat every single symptom individually, you can feed them the most expensive medicine, and you can add synthetic powders to the water, but if you do not clean the toxic environment, nothing will ever truly recover. Your body runs on deeply integrated biological signals, including insulin, cortisol, thyroid function, and gut integrity. Every single one of these signals directly dictates how you feel, how much fat you burn, and how effectively you fight off disease. But in almost every broken metabolism, there's always one primary signal that is more damaged than the rest, keeping all the other systems entirely stuck. This is why you must stop guessing, stop chasing symptoms with random pill bottles, and start addressing the root environmental factors that dictate your cellular sensitivity. By removing the industrial seed oils that oxidize your cell walls, by eliminating the plant anti-nutrients that cause mineral starvation, and by dropping your insulin to allow your gut to heal, you naturally clear the path for your body to function exactly as nature intended. Your immune receptors will open up, your energy will surge, and your body will gain the ability to heal itself from the inside out. Take a moment right now to type metabolic health in the comments to show your commitment to this journey. Hit that like button to spread this vital knowledge to the world, and subscribe to Metabolic Health Lab so you never miss another deep, life-changing biological breakthrough. Stop managing your symptoms, clean your internal environment, and let your body's natural intelligence unlock your true vital potential.